Honestly, it has been a while since I've made a Kingdom Hearts video, and I thought, well, what is next after Kingdom Hearts 1? You think, well, Kingdom Hearts 2, but let's not forget, there's a story that happens in between the two, which honestly is funny because the only reason I even knew about Rechain of Memories was only due to the fact that I go to GameStop, I find a game that is Kingdom Hearts. I didn't really read the Rechain of Memories. I just saw Sora and Riku. I look at the back. I see organization members. I'm like, oh, this must be Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2. Like, you know, how it is 1.5 and 2.5. Like, I thought it was that because, well, I'm stupid. And I had lost both Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2, my copies of the game. So I thought, oh, this one's it. I put the disc in. And it is something that I was so fucking caught off guard. I'm like, what the hell is this? And then it dawned on me. It's like, oh, this explains why the fuck Sora was in a fucking pod. Maybe that might explain who Roxas is and all that. I won't learn until, you know, when the DS version came out. And I couldn't play it for a few years because stuff. But other than that, it is funny how I managed to get into Rechain of Memories. And I know it's hated in terms of it's a card game and it's card system mechanics and all that. But if you ask me, it is probably my 5th or 4th favorite in the series. And I have my reasons for liking it, and throughout the video you'll see why. But I want to make a review of this game. There is the Game Boy version. If I ever do get my hands on it, I will make a review of that and make a comparison between the two. But for now, we're just doing the PlayStation version. So join me today as I go over Kingdom Hearts Rechain of Memories review. When it comes down to the story of Kingdom Hearts Rechain of Memories, it's in 2 parts, because we have the Sora section of things and then the Riku section of things. So let's divide this into Sora section first, since that's the first one you do before you can even do Riku's section. For Sora's section of the story, the way it goes is they're still looking for the king. Him, Donald, and Goofy are looking for the king and Riku, which this travel eventually leads them to Castle Oblivion. Now, when entering, they lose all their abilities. So everything from Kingdom Hearts 1, whether you reach level 100, which yes, that's the only game that you can reach level 100, it all goes to shit and you're back to the basics. Especially, it's funny when Donald is trying to use his magic and he can't do shit, which I feel bad for him just a tad bit. But when it comes down to this is they're starting to lose memories. The higher they go, the more memories they lose, but Sora is the only one mysteriously gaining memories of Naminé, a character that is important to Sora within these fake memories, which is later discovered that Naminé implanted those memories, forced to by Marluxia and Sora. Donald and Goof have to deal with the main antagonist being Marluxia and his pals, Axel, sort of pal Axel, which he does betray Marluxia, and then still we have to kick his ass. Larxene the bitch, yes, this bitch, and Vexen, the mad scientist. And then we still have to deal with a replica version of Riku. Now, when it comes down to it, we have Sora. This main story is more about, in terms of Sora being, the group is starting to slowly dysfunction. The more memories they lose, the more those valuable moments they've had with each other in Kingdom Hearts 1 start to fade away, and it starts to cause problems. Since, for those who forgot, in the Tarzan world, which is early Kingdom Hearts 1 story, Sora and Donald were not getting along. And Sora just wanted to find his friends. And Donald and Goofy have the priority of finding the king. So without the key memories of them working hard and constantly fighting for one another, it definitely starts to break the group apart, which is what happens. Sora eventually abandons Donald and Goofy in the vain attempt that those two are not taking the situation seriously, since they're very skeptical of everything that's going on.
I don't understand what's going on.
Let's just keep moving, okay? It doesn't matter.
It does matter. How can 2 of you have the same memory?
While his focus is Naminé, my friend that I forgot, for some reason, is held captive. I need to save her. These guys aren't helping the way I want to. I have to do this on my own.
Think ahead? What is the matter with you guys? Do you want me to abandon her?
No, that's not it.
Then do whatever you want. You can lay back and take a nap for all I care. I'm going to find Naminé.
Which results in him getting his ass whooped before Donald comes in for the only time he'll cure Sora properly before being a nuisance and a useless ally. And Goofy coming in with a clutch as well. And that's how they kind of reform their bond. Those two showing that they're loyal to Sora.
You won't ever be alone. It's always been the three of us, and we stick together.
And that is how it's going to stay.
No, I refuse to lose. To such a bunch of losers. I think I'm fainting? No, this isn't the way. I won't allow.
Eventually, Naminé revealing that the Riku they were fighting is not really Riku, it's just a replica. Dealing with Marluxia, beating Axel, and facing Marluxia and kicking his ass properly. And yeah, he blows to bits and dies in such an agonizing pain. Which leads to the end of the story being...
You can lose your memories of this castle and reclaim your old ones. Or keep your memories here and give up the memories that you've lost.
Which, I mean, yeah, you gain experience and all, but I mean, the real memories are what's important. Especially considering in Destiny Islands, he does see that Naminé's not the real special girl in his heart, it's Kairi. Which, yeah, Kairi's not really in this game, aside from just a few memories and teases. But Kairi is the essential that makes Sora, well, Sora. Yeah, it's mainly about memories and teamwork. That's mainly the core thing of Sora. Now on to Riku's side of things. Riku's is a lot easier to kind of go over since it is the redemption arc. Riku was the biggest antagonist to Sora, the one who did everything in the worst possible way to save Kairi, and basically backstabbing his friends, only for that to kind of go off the deep end, which resulted in him being trapped in the realm of darkness. Now, his main story arc is he's going rather up to the highest floor. He's basically going to the highest, or I guess the lowest basement level. So it's a little inverse of what Sora's is. But his main thing is he's trying to resist the darkness, not use the power that Ansem gave him. So yeah, resisting the urge to use darkness, which he gets help from Mickey. But eventually he realizes that, yeah, darkness is not necessarily good, but you can still use it for good. And this was helped by Naminé.
You won't fade. You can't fade. There's no power that can defeat you. Not the light, not the dark. So don't run from the light, and don't fear the darkness, because both will make you stronger.
Make me stronger? Darkness too?
Yeah, strength that's yours. The darkness inside your heart, it's vast and it's deep. But if you can, truly stare into it and never try to look away, you won't be afraid of anything again.
All this time I've tried to push the darkness away.
You've got to just remember to be brave. Know that the darkness is there and don't give in. If you do that, you will gain strength. The kind that's unlike any other. You'll be able to escape the deepest darkness.
And I'll be able to see through the brightest light.
Follow the darkness. It'll show you the way to your friends.
Riku's strength is the darkness. So he uses both the light and darkness, which paves the way for him to beat Ansem, and for him to take the road to dawn. So that is mainly how Riku's story kind of goes about. But overall, yes, I could say that although Riku's is more or less cut and dry and to the point, and Sora's is quite literally a lot more lengthy, since we have 3 different characters working together, while Riku's is Mickey Mouse just being more of a support. Honestly, I might argue that Riku's has a stronger character arc because of all the stuff he did in Kingdom Hearts 1 makes it more satisfying when you see him here redeeming himself. But it is also nice seeing Sora sort of developed in a way where the trio develop in a way where they kind of break up, quote unquote, then coming together when they most need each other. So honestly, story is pretty strong. Despite it being in between Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2, which are 2 of the damn good games, it is still, for story, it is a 9 out of 10. The gameplay! Yay! Yeah, I know people hate the gameplay. Like, I know people don't like the card system. They feel like it should have just been a regular old goddamn game. And what do I think? I like it. I like the gameplay. Yup, I can see right now that I'm about to be murked. But let me at least tell you why I like the gameplay. It feels unique. Unless we're talking about Riku's. The only uniqueness on that one is basically the whole battle system of you have the same card, you can go into a mode where if you win, you get this cool ability depending on which Riku form you're in, and that's about it. Riku's is terrible because, I mean, you get cards, but you don't get to choose them. So you get the luck of the draw, and if you go to Wonderland, you're just automatically fucked. Especially if you have 1 card left and it's a shitty card, then yeah, you're just fucked. But let me explain for Sora's at least. Sora's has the most utilities that you can bring out, which means that creativity. You can upgrade certain things that you want, which gives you abilities that you might need or that you might not. I do not recommend this one. You still have crazy combos you can do. Even Riku and Mickey have a crazy kind of combo thing you can do. Donald and Goofy have a nice little Trinity combo. We have Ultimate Donald, which honestly, a friend of mine allowed me to explain this scenario that happens. They were fighting Axel. They were about to win. Donald basically fucks it up by firing fire of all fucking things, which heals Axel. And yeah, that basically goes completely fucking wrong. So unless you want to count on this stupid duck, I recommend just having him as the ultimate support, being this ridiculously overpowered ability. But other than that, I mean, the gameplay is more or less unique in Sora's case. This is where Sora takes a dub over Riku, because there's a lot more you can work with Sora. Riku's, you're just on the luck of the draw. So as for gameplay, 6 out of 10 for Riku, 9 out of 10 for Sora. I think for the worlds, they're somewhat similar to what they are in Kingdom Hearts 1. The biggest difference being that it is more or less they're trying to remember what happened in each, or they're flat out their own interesting thing. If we're talking about Sora's, if we're talking about Riku's, his only biggest significance was Hollow Bastion, whenever we get to get more in depth in Riku's shenanigans back in Kingdom Hearts 1 and how his relationship with Maleficent was. Otherwise, the worlds are fine. They're more or less just there to kind of run the timer, with the only one that has the length one being Sora's. Riku's is quite literally, you go in, you kill the boss, you're out. Unless it's Destiny Islands, it's pretty cut and dry. Honestly, 8 out of 10. Wasn't terrible. It was okay. It was good to okay. Characters! For this one, it's not as big as, say, Kingdom Hearts 1's character list, since it's a lot of chalking down to main character number 2, their companions all bundled up into a trio, the villains being the organization, and Ansem, and Nominate. So let's get started with the obvious one. Sora, our main protagonist of the series. For his development, it's slightly different. Unlike the first one that definitely was the hero needs to save the girl kind of trope. Well, still the same, but with a few little twists. His relationship with Donald and Goofy is what sort of drives this specific arc of his character, as well as him losing and gaining memories, as he's the only one who seems to be gaining or losing memories. So the way I would phrase it is, in Kingdom Hearts 1, he had troubles with Donald. In this story, trusting the two, kind of all of them working together, but as it keeps going on and Sora keeps getting more memories of Naminé and learns that she is captured and everything, the more the situation starts to put into the perspective that he feels like Donald and Goofy aren't taking this seriously, while the two are more or less worried that something else is at play, which it is. For Sora here, he starts to slowly become a little angsty, a bit too anxious to want to save his friend, and eventually does ditch Donald and Goofy in a reverse Uno kind of thing, where Donald and Goofy had to ditch Sora when he lost the Keyblade to Riku. This one, Sora ditched Donald and Goofy, and yet the three of them still ended up helping each other when it mattered most. And yeah, in the end, even when Sora managed to save the girl and all, he was revealed to show, thanks to Naminé, that the special person in Sora's heart is Kairi. And that, yeah, he wants his original memories back since, well, they're important to him. Sora's development is a little wonky compared to Riku's, because Riku's is a little more straightforward. This one is more continuing on with Sora's thing of wanting to help his friends and being put in a position where the situation keeps getting a lot more stressful for him.
Riku, our second main protagonist. For him, the way his character goes is he's on the redemption path after being locked into the realm of darkness with Mickey, and his whole goal is basically redemption. Shown whenever his first world is Hollow Bastion, he goes and understands that he was an agent for Maleficent. He did so many bad things, and his whole thing is he wants to redeem himself, as well as he wants to resist using the darkness, at least for majority of this game, because he doesn't want to cause any more harm with it. He does have the ability to use it after his first fight with Ansem, but it's more or less, at least canonically, it's him avoiding it as much as he can, and with Mickey constantly coming in whenever he needs to help Riku kind of keep the darkness in check. It's not until Naminé disguised as Kairi kind of motivating him to trust the darkness, to allow himself that his greatest strength is the darkness as well as the light. After this moment, once he finally can accept the darkness but have it be its own, not Ansem's controlled version that would just make him into a puppet again, he's able to truly use his abilities and no longer fear that darkness that he once did. So his character is a redemption type of, I screwed up in the last game, I made all these mistakes, I have to redeem myself, as well as overcoming his fear of the darkness. The Disney trio. The reason Donald, Goofy, and Mickey are here are more or less because they all share the same kind of thing, just with Donald and Goofy being more supports to Sora and Mickey being a support to Riku. That being, well, supports. Donald and Goofy are assisting Sora in his journey and even outright question whenever things are going wrong, such as whenever they realize that Sora and Replica Riku had the same memories of a certain specific event, that it made no sense. No one can have the same memory, which clearly that's an indication that something's actually wrong, and also that he's gaining memories for some reason instead of losing them. Donald and Goofy are not gaining any new memories, so they already knew something was off, but it wasn't until that finally made them think something was truly off. And even when Sora ditched them, the two still care for him and went after him, as well as protect him. So they're the support for Sora. For Mickey's case, it's similar but different. He's usually portrayed like he's not there, even though in game he's usable. It's more that he can come in and help Riku whenever the darkness is getting overwhelming for him. Once he is there physically, he is still the same thing. He will be there for Riku. Whenever Riku's in the darkness, Mickey's there to shine a light within the darkness. So these three mainly play the support characters to their respective main character. Naminé. I kind of feel bad because this is one, if not the major role she plays in all of Kingdom Hearts. Even though she's here for 35A over 2 days and Kingdom Hearts 2, this one is the only one where she has the most focused role. And her thing is mainly with Sora, that she has the power over Sora's memories. Her thing is she is a damsel in distress, serving as the same thing as Kairi, with the little twist that she's been sort of manipulating Sora. And it's not through her own will, mind you, but mainly because she's forced to it, and she wants to be saved. So whenever Sora and her do meet, yeah, she doesn't feel happy because, I mean, this isn't the right way to meet. And once everything was done, she did give Sora an ultimatum of what does he want, which he did choose his own memories, which, I mean, it is sad for her, but she understood that.
Oh, okay. Nobody needs to keep a bunch of memories that aren't real, right?
What probably caught her off guard was Sora's promise for the two to really be friends for real. And that promise being something that would stick with Sora. So that's one thing, is that she's more or less the damsel in distress for this game. Though for Riku's side of things, it is interesting that she could lock away the darkness for good. And the only thing is, Riku would lose the memories of Ansem and what he did, which is more a service to Riku's showing that he has overcome the darkness. Had he not overcome the darkness, or still feared it like he did before reaching Destiny Island, he would have probably accepted it, which is funny because Naminé is the key reason why Riku was able to overcome it. So while she was being saved by Sora and his side of the story, in Riku's, she was basically a motivation to help him overcome this hurdle. So she is both the damsel in distress and a support.
Replica Riku, one of the more interesting ones, since he is an antagonist to both Sora and Riku on different ways. For Riku, it's literally, well, himself. He's basically being challenged by the fact that a Riku exists. At first, he didn't really care as he's a new being, but as he gets more memories of Riku implanted into him, it's more or less of an identity issue, an identity crisis kind of thing, where he's clearly can't be, well, himself, Riku, because, well, the real Riku's around, so it causes him to basically lose his goddamn marbles. While in Sora's case, it's more or less just him being a constant annoying antagonist to Sora here and there, the two are arguing over Naminé, which eventually culminates into Replica Riku knowing that his memories are fake and going his own path, which leads him to Riku after he killed Zexion with his newfound power, and he's still lost. So the tragedy about Replica Riku is more or less that he came in and he died. Like, he was created by Vexen as an experiment, was basically Larxene pushed Vexen into implanting him all the memories, and then he had fake memories, and all of this culminates in him having an identity crisis when having to deal with Riku. So yeah, the tragedy about Replica Riku is that although he was a jackass, he didn't really want it to have fake memories. He wanted to be his own thing, and he didn't even care if Riku existed. But the moment he got the memories of Riku and eventually dealing with his real self, it caused him to implode, but also to push the fact that this Replica Riku is seeking power of darkness to validate himself that he is different from his counterpart, while his counterpart overcame the darkness and used that darkness as his own. So they're both sort of a reflection of what Riku could have become, while he became a better version of himself.
Hello.
Now, Axel is a very special character And yes, I mean, he is still the same Axel that everyone loves from 358, Kingdom Hearts 2, and Kingdom Hearts 3.
You kidding? Do you know how popular I am? I got loads of people rooting for me. Sorry, boss. No one axes Axel. Got it memorized?
Axel!
Axel? Please. The name's Lee. Got it memorized?
You're not supposed to be here!
Promises to keep. I'll always be there to get my friends back. What? Bad timing?
Like, Axel here is just as fun as he usually is. Though his case is a bit interesting. He's serving Marluxia, the one in charge of, well, the operation. However, he is also picking them out as they are traitors to the organization. So his loyalty is to the organization, but he's doing it in whatever way he feels like. So he took out Vexen, which honestly, he wasn't a traitor, but it's more or less to get Larxene and Marluxia to kind of trust him. However, once he let Naminé go, it made it more clear that he has a heart, and he probably could have eliminated Larxene, but Sora already took care of it, so he obviously went after Marluxia. But just as he seemed like he was defeated, he is the main key thing that he appears in Riku's section to show that, nah, he's not dead. And he basically pushes Replica Riku to become stronger and kill Zexion in a very brutal way. But that's as far as he goes. He's more or less an antagonist, yes. However, not necessarily one that is persistent, since he has his own goals. I'm putting most of the organization here because, I mean, they all serve as antagonists to Sora / Riku, with obviously Larxene, Vexen dying in Sora's section, Zexion and this guy dying in Riku's section. Though they serve a purpose. Larxene being the one that sort of reminded Sora, quote unquote, of Naminé, as well as being the one that reunited Donald and Goofy to Sora. And then Vexen being the main key annoyance that created Replica Riku. Though he didn't really deserve to get murked in such a brutal way. And then we have Zexion and Lexius. The two serve to push Riku into the direction of being able to use the darkness. Lexius basically wanting to kill Riku because he can't use the darkness and is a coward by his standards. And yeah, he gets killed because of it. And then Zexion is trying to manipulate Riku into giving up by having him pose as Sora, and that he's only good to be eliminated since he's against the light, only for Naminé to help Riku and allow him to basically be able to beat Zexion. Although Zexion was killed by Replica Riku rather than the main Riku. So mainly these organization members serve more or less as the secondary antagonists to our protagonists. Although in this game there's not a lot of information about this character, I have to say that Diz is more or less as support for Riku as well, but in a very mysterious way. But Diz serves more of a very, very small purpose of giving Riku the coat, which would be important for him later down the road, as well as being a sort of guide, as he was the one that got Riku out of his area at the very beginning of his story. So he is a support. It's just I did want to mention him as he does play a key role in Kingdom Hearts 2. For here, it's just his introduction before his big role comes in. And then lastly, we'll put both Ansem and Marluxia in the same category character, because honestly they serve the same purpose for their separate stories. They both want to manipulate their main character to serve their own purpose. Ansem in the sake that he wants to control Riku again and make him into his puppet, while Marluxia wants to literally erase everything of Sora at some point, make him into a mindless puppet, and use them against the organization. The two serve as the antithesis to Sora and Riku, with Sora being able to overcome this issue because he has his friends along the way, while Riku was able to overcome darkness after his journey of redemption, which allowed him to fight off against Ansem's darkness and eventually beat him, showing that he has grown past Ansem. So the two clearly are just the main bosses of their respective stories. It's just their characters are almost similar, that they want to control respective main character. Overall, for the characters, I gotta give it an 8.5. Unlike in the first game that definitely had a lot more going on for it, this one was grounded, though we were walking in similar territory with Sora, and then with Riku we had an amazing redemption arc, which I can't help but smile whenever replaying this game and watching Riku overcome the darkness he once feared. So yeah, overall, 8.5 out of 10. The final bosses of this Kingdom Hearts game are twofold. Yeah, we could talk about Axel being an annoyance in the second round, Larxene being, well, a bitch, Vexen being kind of a whore when it comes on to attacking his sorry ass, or Replica Riku and the amount of fucking times we gotta fight him. Anyway, not the point. The whole thing is, I'm just gonna go over Marluxia and Ansem. Similar to the story one, we'll divide them into two subsections.
Soon the emptiness will shatter your heart. Here in this world of nothingness.
For Marluxia being the first final boss you technically have to deal with, he's a bitch. And by that I mean, let's see, you have to fight him when you first interact with him, when Replica Riku comes in to help you. Which, fun fact by the way, in the original Chain of Memories game that's on the Game Boy, he goes out like a bitch. In this fucking game, he refuses to die like a bitch. So, you know, ironic, I guess. So after you beat him here, it's revealed that, oh no, I'm not the real Marluxia. I'm just an imitation as well, and then the real one is hidden in this goddamn door. And then when you get in there, it's just a big fucking vehicle for him. Honestly, I find it hilarious that this is the first part of the true final boss. And then when you kick his ass here, he's like, ha ha ha, I got you, because this is my true form. And then you kick his ass there and he dies an agonizing death. Honestly, it's satisfying here, but I will say, if he had another fucking form after this, I might have punched the TV. Because this fight is genuinely annoying, especially if he catches you with the ultimate move. If you fail this, it's instant death and you gotta go through my first phase again. It's like, nah, fuck you. Like, literally, fuck you. But overall, I mean, this boss fight is 7 out of 10 in terms of specificness. Because, yeah, it's story-wise, it's unique for Sora's, but fuck this fight. Just, oh my god, it's so damn annoying.
Very well. In that case, you shall sink into the abyss!
For Ansem, honestly, I mean, yeah, his Kingdom Hearts 1 boss fight was one of the best, if not the best, in terms of quality and kind of shenanigans you gotta go through, but satisfying. But this one's satisfying on a different level. Although it's a straightforward fight between, well, Riku and Ansem, being in the realm of darkness, back where he was defeated in Kingdom Hearts 1, for Riku to defeat him there and then end up in the room of Castle Oblivion is poetic, because here's where every problem for Riku started, was when he trusted Ansem. So this is more the gameplay side of things. Yeah, it's kind of the same as fighting almost any ordinary boss fight, with it just Ansem being a lot harder. Obviously, he's the final boss of Riku's area, but it's more satisfying from a story perspective, because unlike with Marluxia being a quite annoying bitch, and his death being, well, you know, satisfying in the sense that he's annoying, this one is satisfying because although Ansem kind of gets the last laugh by self-destructing, I guess, into darkness and plunging Riku into it. And so in terms of Ansem in gameplay, yeah, Marluxia is a lot
higher than Ansem in terms of it, but Ansem's story significance is way more better than Marluxia's. I gotta give it. So gameplay alone, I have to give Ansem 6 out of 10. It's not as unique as Marluxia's, which would be a 10 out of 10 due to how his gameplay works as a final boss. However, Ansem adding the story factor, then we switch it up with 8.5 for Marluxia and a 9.5 with Ansem. This one, I want to go over the theme, because the theme here is more about identity than anything else. Since Sora's identity is being called into question a lot, because although he's losing memories as well as Donald and Goofy, he's gaining memories that are surprising, because why would he forget these? These seem to be important, especially for someone like Sora. And this causes a lot of problems, especially whenever Sora is fed up and abandons Donald and Goofy because he wants to help nominate who he believes is the main driver for most of his stuff, only to eventually learn that no, it's Kairi, though he doesn't know it until the very end of the game, as well as Marluxia wanting to manipulate Sora and control him, make him into his puppet. And in Riku's side of things, Riku's already struggling with the fact that he messed up in the last game. So he is avoiding the darkness as he fears that thing, since that would mean that he is helping Ansem. He's allowing Ansem's power and eventually Ansem to control him. So another thing is control. Both the antagonists want to control both main characters, and it's up to the main characters to overcome this issue. Well, both issues. So that's kind of the theme I get of this game, is control and identity. If you ask most, some would say that Rechain of Memory's best thing is Riku's story. Some would say that the card system sucks. Probably something that most people don't like. But majority would say that this game is okay. For me, it is one of my favorites. I genuinely enjoyed the gameplay. There was a lot of uniqueness to it, a lot of cool abilities, cool combos, and it had a lot of variety. As for the story side of things, although Sora's is unironically an angsty teenager kind of throwing a slight hissy fit, it's still Sora going through an adventure. Similar to his first adventure, but with different stakes, more grounded. Not as open world with, well, different worlds. It's all in one area. It's just he's traveling to the memories of those worlds. You gotta give it credit where it's due. Riku's story is really strong. It's the redemption stuff. We all gotta love that redemption arc. But as a game overall, I'll give it an 8.5 out of 10. It is definitely good. It definitely hits points of what Kingdom Hearts strives for. And it gives such a serious story to what is essentially a kid's game. Hopefully y'all enjoyed this review. And yeah, 2024, here we go.